bombing shocked our travels to the Oklahoma City bomb site to witness the tireless heroism of the rescuers. And as the investigation continues, the hunt intensifies for the man who is America's most wanted.
Good evening, I'm John Wall. Behind me is the shattered ruins of the Federal Building here in Oklahoma City. It is both a memorial to the many victims who died there and a monument to the many heroes who tried to save them. We begin tonight with the hunt for the killers. Lennon Ozizwe has been following the investigation all week.
He may have the most infamous face in the country, yet he has no name. He may be dead or alive, but there's no question about this. He is the most wanted man in America. Wanted for his role in setting off a blast in Oklahoma City so powerful, the damage would compare to 6 on the Richter scale. The massive manhunt began moments after the terrible explosion, and it would lead through a winding path of great police work and blind luck, a path whose ending may be up to you. At the time of the explosion, Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating had just settled down with his morning coffee and newspaper.
All of a sudden, it sounded like an artillery thud, just a boom. And about 10 minutes later, there was a report that there had been an explosion in a downtown office building. When the former FBI agent got his first look at the bomb site, his training told him this was no accident. You could see cars on fire, enormous amounts of glass everywhere, so it was clear to me, at least at that juncture, that some kind of destructive device had disintegrated that building.
The first order of business for the investigation was to secure the area for evidence.
The hardest part is just getting the perimeter set up, getting access to it very, very limited.
While most crime scenes might be confined to a single room, this one went on for miles. The nation quickly rallied to help Oklahoma City, and it wasn't too long before a call came in for President Clinton.
I said, I just need 2 things. First, an assurance that there's no larger conspiracy here that we as a state ought to protect against, that you know of. He said, none. We don't know anything about it.
The second order of business was asking the president for federal assistance. Before lunchtime, agents from around the country were dispatched to start putting together the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle with many missing pieces. It's not unusual in cases like this for it to take months and even years to come up with vital clues. But here in Oklahoma City, as it turns out, the first big break would come within less than 2 hours after the blast, all because of a routine traffic violation that turned out to be anything but routine.
I was just doing my job.
For the past 19 years, Trooper Charles Hanger's job has been with the Highway Patrol.
I describe myself as a friendly, fair, firm traffic officer. And if you don't treat people equally, I don't think you're doing a good job, because you have to treat people equally.
The morning of April 19th, he spotted a yellow Mercury without a plate, about an hour outside of Oklahoma City. Hanger is restricted about what he can say about arresting the driver of the car after he noticed something in his coat pocket that turned out to be a gun.
That was the beginning of the end for this conduct, and it certainly was the beginning of the end for this potential defendant.
Behind bars, that potential defendant was quiet, but within a few hours, a smoldering hunk of metal would tell investigators all they needed to know. A 400-pound axle had been catapulted 2 blocks from the blast, crushing a small red Chevrolet. Investigators found the axle, and the vehicle identification number on that axle took them on an important journey to the seeds of a conspiracy that were planted in the rich farm fields of Kansas. The axle led to a Ryder truck rented at this Junction City body shop. Federal agents descended on the area to comb for clues, armed with sketches of 2 suspects, John Doe's number 1 and number 2. At the Dreamland Hotel, they spoke to owner Leah McGowan. She not only recognized the suspect, she told them his name.
Mr. McVeigh came in late afternoon, and he, like most people come in, I asked, do you want a room, how many beds, how many people? He stated 1 bed, 1 person, and 4 nights.
At the nearby Great Western Inn, employees recognized a familiar face, an impatient man with short dark hair and deep-set eyes. John Doe number 2. And across town at Gracie & Company, Kathy Henderson was approached by a man who didn't have an appointment. John Doe number 2 was looking for a haircut or just a new look.
We don't hardly ever get walk-ins, especially men, and especially 2 men in the middle of the day during the week. We don't ever see that. So we did remember them.
As these clues came together, FBI agents put the name Tim McVeigh into their computer and found the Tim McVeigh who'd been arrested by the Oklahoma trooper.
We scheduled his bond hearing for Friday morning at 9:30, and that's about the time we were sitting in court waiting on him is when we were notified that the FBI wanted to come question him.
McVeigh's registration at Dreamland handed agents another important clue, the Michigan address of his friend, James Douglas Nichols. Nichols and his brother reportedly built bombs with McVeigh on their farm. Now McVeigh is charged in the bombing. The brothers are being held as material witnesses, and the rest of the nation is still looking for John Doe number 2.
This is the all-time worst terrorist attack in America, and anybody associated with it has to be the Prince of Darkness.
If there are more suspects, investigators hope to find traces of their identities in what remains of the federal building. One clue that came out late this week, the FBI is searching for an Arizona license plate with the numbers LZC 646. Investigators believe it may be connected to the crime scene and could be a crucial clue. So far, the FBI has taken more than 10,000 calls through the special hotline they've set up. The call they're waiting for is a lead on John Doe number 2, and that's where you come in. Take one more look at this updated composite, which shows him wearing a baseball cap. Authorities believe John Doe number 2 was not from Oklahoma and almost certainly isn't there now. So please, if you have any information about the suspect, the license plate, or anything else in the case, please call the FBI on their special hotline at 1-800-905-1514.
All the law enforcement investigators I've spoken to this week say the same thing. They will not stop until this case is solved. So if you know anything at all, make that call. And remember, you can remain anonymous. When we come back, the survivors tell their story. Stay with us.
Coming up next.
I was standing there talking to a friend, and it was just like it was raining rocks and slabs of cement.
The bombing has robbed many people of their families and friends, but it hasn't robbed them of hope. As a nation, we watched as a legion of silent heroes emerge from this rubble. But even as the work goes on, the survivors struggle to deal with this tragedy. Kate Sullivan has their stories.
Wednesday at 9 o'clock, my life stopped.
I was 15 feet, she said, from where the crater hole was that it blew.
How do you tell your sister that her kid's dead?
For every death in the Oklahoma bombing, there is a suffering family left behind. Each family handles its grief in its own private way, following its own path toward coping and healing. The 4 Battle sisters spent the week wondering about the fate of their parents. Calvin and Peola Battle were in their 50s, preparing for their golden years together. They went to the Social Security office on that Wednesday morning and never came home.
If we could just find someone that's seen them down there and could just, tell us, what was the last thing they were, just something.
Calvin suffered from diabetes. Peola was devoted to his care. The sisters have a tight-knit family, and life without their parents leaves a tremendous void.
We might not act like we're hurting, but, inside we are. Because it's just 4 girls here, and if we fall apart, we have no one to hold us up.
The Battle sisters say nighttime is their hardest time. After long days of talking with reporters and seeing visitors, they say at night they don't have the distractions, and they're left alone to feel their pain.
Well, most of the people that were missing, they've either found them or they haven't. Like the kids, majority of those have been found. So they're able to bury their loved ones. But we're sitting here not knowing it could be another couple of days.
Nancy Ingram, the tragedy started with a morning errand to the Federal Credit Union.
I didn't know what happened. I thought it was an earthquake. And I was standing there talking to a friend, and it was just like it was raining rocks and slabs of cement.
The next thing she knew, her legs were pinned under thousands of pounds of concrete.
The chaplain of the Plum City Fire Department found me and uncovered my face and got the debris off, but my feet were stuck. They thought they were going to have to leave feet there and take me, and I didn't agree with that. So they got a hydraulic jack and lifted that out and pulled me out.
Yet Nancy's relief is mixed with fear.
But I haven't looked over at it yet. I've got some missing friends that may be over there, and I haven't felt like I could do that.
Edie Smith has become perhaps one of the best known of the Oklahoma victims. Her overwhelming loss came on a morning that could not have started off more normally, taking her 2 toddlers to daycare at the America Kids Daycare Center at the Murrah Federal Building.
They've been going there for almost 2 years, and they loved it. The little children up there, there were lots of sets of siblings, brothers and sisters. They all loved each other so much. It was so cute to watch them play and run around in there. They had so much fun. They loved to go to school.
Edie and her mom worked together. When they heard the blast, they began to run.
My mom said, "Oh my God, the babies."
And she said, "Oh my God." And we took off running. And it was 5 blocks down there. And on the south side of the building, you couldn't see what had happened.
It was almost like a dream. It was like, this isn't happening.
When we got around to that side, the whole side of the building was just blown away. And Edie just crumbled and said, "Oh, my babies, my babies." She was yelling.
Several people pointed us in different directions to go where they were holding babies, and we went everywhere. We couldn't find them.
Edie's brother, Danny, is a police officer. When he saw his mom and sister on TV, he swung into action.
I decided to call the dispatcher and told her that I was going to put myself down there also to try to help out. And secondarily, for my sister, I was going to see if I can find her boys. Me and another officer went down to the temporary morgue, which was set up on the playground. First child I walked up to, I opened the blankets up, and it was her youngest son, Colton.
You found my 2-year-old. He was wrapped up in a blanket on a bench. He was just laying there. They picked him up off the ground and put him on the bench.
So now the long process of grieving and healing must begin, and each family must find its own road to understanding. For the Smith family, perhaps only time will heal the wounds.
We didn't want to lose either one of them, but at least she knew that they were dead the first day. They went quick. They went instant. They didn't suffer. Our objective was to get some closure in the thing. If they were dead, let's find them and let's start dealing with the grieving process.
For Nancy Ingram, the healing comes in knowing that no matter how she's suffering, she's thankful that she's been spared.
But anyway, I'm okay. And nobody has troubles if you're alive and you're okay. Everything else will work out.
At times like these, there's a lot of talk about healing. And everyone who's worked here or lost a loved one is going to have to find a way to deal with their own grief. But everyone I've met here this week knows that, and they're willing to help each other. They've adopted a new battle cry: let the healing begin. With this song playing in the background, the anthem for parents of murdered children, the people of Oklahoma City gathered together for strength. This was one of the many church services where they met to talk and to remember.
I went to the scene of the bomb explosion shortly after it happened, and I've been there 10, 12, 14 hours a day.
It occurred to me in the Attorney General's office that we would have an immediate response to the scene and that law enforcement would do the wonderful job that they'd always done, but that we would need some help kind of getting our arms around the enormity of the crime that had been committed and the enormity of the numbers of victims that had been created by that monstrous act.
One highway patrol lieutenant was in my office when the bomb went off. He was sitting there actually looking out the window. They actually saw the bomb go off. The rest of us had to try to get our people out because it blew all the windows out of our building. And we had to make sure that our our employees were evacuated. Lieutenant Larry Dellinger ran out of that building and ran over to the bomb site. I'm still having some problems. He carried 5 babies out of the building.
I try to bring to you a message of hope and certainly a message of thanks. And that thanks goes out to the people that I met today when Bob took me around the site. I toured the crime scene with Oklahoma County DA Bob Macy. As hellish as the scene appears at the federal building, you have to walk through this downtown area to understand the magnitude of the destruction.
So you look up here, John, all the wind is gone. Look at this building over here blown to pieces. Look at the car.
Bob, the devastation around the actual site is amazing. I mean, you look around here and you see what this bomb did, and people were injured in these buildings. Am I right?
People were killed in these buildings. We have at least 2 fatalities in the building behind us, another fatality over here. We had a little restaurant across the street. We had at least 4 fatalities there. There were people sitting in a parking lot waiting to go into this building. Numerous people were killed there. So there were a lot of people killed outside the federal building.
A block away.
More than a block away, some of them.
Amazing, amazing, amazing blast. Walking through the rubble towards the federal building, you start to see the new victims of the blast, the tireless rescue workers, the investigators. They have the horrible task of sifting through the destruction.
First body I looked at was a child, and I uncovered her, and she was the same age and the same size as my little girl at home, and it still breaks me up talking about it, but the little girl had a portion of her blown away, and just, I cried the whole time I looked at her, and the first 4 bodies I looked at were little kids, and I cried the whole time, and I thought, dear God, if we have to do a whole lot more of this, I don't know that any of us are capable of handling it.
But the people of Oklahoma City are handling it. They're getting their strength through the love of strangers. Some know the pain of losing a child. A contingent of people, parents of murdered children, came to help them in their grief. What advice do you give? What do you think if you meet some of these parents you're going to say?
Well, I think a lot of it has already been said, that I think it takes a lot of time. And I oftentimes think the small things are the hardest, and people are not prepared for that. Sometimes you get prepared to go to the trial, but you may not be prepared to go to the grocery store and pass your child's favorite food. Some of those small things that they are not anticipating have been really hard.
I was very impressed, uplifted by the memorial service on Sunday. But on the other hand, I remembered that after the memorial services and after the thank you notes are written and after everyone goes back to their own way of life, and you're still left with this horrible, horrendous pain and don't know what to do with it.
I want to leave you with my own personal message and the message that I have lived by for 13 years. You will survive. You will survive. This community, this city, this state will survive. And you will go on. And you'll go on in the name of your loved ones.
We are the survivors. Here are we are the survivors, left behind to carry on. We are the survivors, joined together, we are strong. We will speak out for our loved ones who are not given a choice. We are the survivors. Here are boys.
I had the honor of working with those men for 4 days, men and women. The thing they told me was, it's kind of like Frank Keating said, you know, we've always known Oklahoma was great, and now the world knows it.
The people of Oklahoma City, you that are here tonight, the people sitting on this stage, you may not know it, but I know it. You have set an example for Americans everywhere. You have set an outstanding example for the people throughout this country who know and feel for you. You have set an example that a community can come together and try to deal with the worst of the tragedy that can befall upon a city. And I say this to you, and to the people that are so hurting up on this stage, that the people that are so hurting in this audience, I know firsthand, you're hurt, I know you're hurt. You grieve deeply. You're down, but you're not broken. God bless your spirit and your courage. The bombing here in Oklahoma City seems to be politically motivated. The FBI says there is another group of terrorists in this country who are motivated by religion. Brian Karam has the story.
This is clandestine footage of a terrorist group known as Al-Fuqra. They are training not in the Middle East, but in central Colorado. The group was unknown until a small-town deputy stumbled across them while on a routine call. Sheriff's Deputy Dave Bowers lost 60 pounds hiking into the mountains over 3 years, watching the compound and making videotapes of the terrorists.
Our first initial information that we received was that there was a clandestine drug lab operation here, a methamphetamine lab. That is what we originally began investigating.
Bowers never observed any drug activity, but what he did see made him very curious. There were maybe 75 people, including children, living in the camp without electricity or running water, and many were dressed in Arab garb.
I don't think that many of the residents of our county in particular were prepared to deal with some of the things that they were about to hear about.
By then, Bowers knew the group's name, Al-Fuqra, and that they were known to be a radical sect of Islamic fundamentalists. But he didn't know much more, so he began checking around. And just 60 miles away in Colorado Springs, he found Sergeant Bill Lidd. Lidd was investigating Fuqra and had come across them almost as accidentally as Bowers had.
Well, back in August of 1989, some of our burglary detectives are working a burglary case of the storage locker unit, and they more or less stumbled across a storage locker over here at A3 that they thought might contain some stolen property in the storage locker burglaries.
That detective noticed people hanging around outside this locker one night. Suspicious, he checked with the storage locker company and got permission to open it. Inside, he found paperwork which belonged to Al-Fuqra members in Buena Vista. It is an outline of how to train a Fuqra terrorist cell. It includes a directive that urged Fuqra members to be knowledgeable of explosives, incendiaries, demolition preparation, and booby traps. Other materials urged members to wage a jihad, or holy war.
This is a large, well-organized, very secretive group. They have compounds all over the country. They have a very developed infrastructure, and they certainly demonstrated a proclivity for using violent means, bombings and killings, to accomplish their goals.
When he raided it, he found the warehouse loaded with dangerous explosives. The Colorado Bureau of Investigation then staged a demonstration to show what those explosives could do. Within days of the warehouse raid, Al-Fuqra was tied to major crimes all over the country, including the firebombing of a Hare Krishna temple in Denver and the murder of Muslim cleric Rashad Khalifa in his mosque in Tucson, Arizona. With the information in hand from Colorado Springs and with his own surveillance in mind, by the spring of 1991, Bowers went to a judge and got a search warrant for the Buena Vista compound. In March of 1991, the 15-man Chaffee County Sheriff's Department and more than 80 other officers raided the compound. They found this shack loaded with computers and surveillance equipment. They also found these books, which explain how to build and care for a variety of assault weapons.
Operator's manual for a 40mm grenade launcher.
More importantly, police were able to tie the leader of the group to most of those criminal acts.
And who was in charge of the compound?
James D. Williams.
He ran this whole thing.
He purchased the property and ran the compound here.
And what kind of man, in your estimation, is he?
He's very quiet and he's very intelligent. He's absolutely dangerous.
Williams is a guy that impresses me as being very dedicated to his beliefs, and those beliefs, unfortunately, have a very strong mixture of spirituality and militancy.
He has international connections, he has national connections, he has money that's at his disposal, he's used false identities, he has all the indicators of someone who would be very easily able to flee the state.
Colorado Attorney General Gail Norton prosecuted Williams. he was convicted of conspiracy in the bombing, the murder, and other terrorist acts. He stayed out of jail on a bond during the trial. While awaiting sentencing, he was still free on a $50,000 bond. The day of sentencing arrived, but Williams didn't. Faced with up to 96 years in prison, he packed his bags, took his family, and skipped town.
I don't want to question someone's religious beliefs. This is not a question of religion. This is a question of violence. He was someone who had been involved in conspiracies to commit murder and in use of violence that made him someone who should not be out on the street.
And that makes you someone who could take one of America's most dangerous terrorists off the streets. So take another good look. Williams is believed to be traveling with his wife and their 2 children. He has a 2-inch scar on his upper right arm, and he usually wears glasses. Here's how Williams looks without them. The FBI says he's probably armed, so be careful. If you've seen him, make that call. 1-800-CRIME-TV. Our report from Oklahoma City continues when we come back.
Protected.
Thompson's Ultra beats the competition hands down.
Thompson's Ultra, the ultimate waterproofer.
Come try the Olive Garden steak and fettuccine Alfredo meal. Enjoy unlimited fresh breadsticks and salad, a seasoned sirloin steak, and creamy fettuccine Alfredo, all for just $9.95 only at the Olive Garden Italian Restaurant.
Well, 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 what have we here? Gentlemen, that gum's not going to wind up in the coin return, is it?
Nope.
Good. Who can tell me the proper procedure for making a collect call?
Dial 1-800-COLLECT.
Good. The word's out on the street.
Phone patrol.
The International Association of Wildland Fire just approved a nasal decongestant for firefighters on duty. It's Sudafed, approved because Sudafed relieves sinus and allergy congestion with no drowsy side effects. Sudafed clears you up without slowing you down.
The only candy made with the refreshing tart and sweet taste of ocean spray. Fruit Waves. All natural Fruit Waves when you're thirsty for a great candy.
The playoff chase is on for the Stanley Cup on Fox. NHL Sunday. The St. Louis Blues and point man Brett Hull set a course marked for the playoffs when they battle the Sharks. The St. Louis Blues take on the San Jose Sharks live, 3 Eastern, 12 noon Pacific.
It's lights, camera, bikinis, action when Al directs his first movie.
Thanks for signing my inner thigh, Mr. Bundy.
On a brand new Married with Children. Then the cast looks back at some of the show's most outrageous moments.
You sure you don't want the redhead for your intergalactic zoo?
My Favorite Married, part of a special full-hour Sunday.
This is a missing child alert. 3-year-old Omar Vargas disappeared from Agua Prieta, Mexico on Saturday, April 22nd. Please call 1-800-CRIME-TV if you've seen him.
Suspect bought a huge amount of military ammunition at a Buffalo area store. No word, though, on what Timothy McVeigh did with it. The wives of 2 Americans jailed in Iraq are hoping they'll soon see their husbands. They left Jordan for Baghdad after they were granted Iraqi visas. This has been a Fox News Update. On Monday night, even as rescue workers here were searching for the living and the dead, another bomber struck in California. He's been at it for 17 years. His code name is the Unabomber. And investigators say his signature bombs are so distinct, they know when an explosion is his. Monday was his 16th.
I think this guy's a proud. I think he's a braggart. I think he's an arrogant person, and maybe he's saying, hey, I didn't get enough attention. Maybe Oklahoma, maybe he's jealous of that. We don't know.
Until last week's tragedy in Oklahoma, he was without a doubt the most notorious and elusive bomber in modern history. On Monday, he struck again.
Oh my God.
Killing his 3rd victim. And for the first time, officials might know why.
One very distinctly new development has been the receipt from the Unabomber of 3 letters.
Finally, after 17 years, the Unabomber revealed the motive for his attacks. In what turned out to be one of 4 letters, he wrote the New York Times that he belongs to a group called FC, a group he says aims to destroy the worldwide industrial system. He also offered to stop the bombings if the media would publish his 30,000-word manifesto. Named the Unabomber because of early attacks on universities and airlines, he has typically targeted people in the high-tech fields. But now he says his group has nothing against universities or scholars as such. The people we are out to get are the scientists and engineers, especially in critical fields like computers. 2 years ago, when we first asked for your help on this case, the bomber hit a computer expert at Yale. Officials warned they expected him to strike again. Sadly, that prediction came true. Now there are 2 more dead. In December, a bomb ripped through the home of Thomas Moser. His wife and 15-month-old baby barely escaped, but Moser was killed. Now the bomber says Moser, an advertising executive, was targeted because his business developed ways to manipulate people's attitudes. This week, Gilbert Murray, a lobbyist, became the Unabomber's latest victim.
We heard a boom. You know, it sounded like when somebody drops a dumpster, something kind of hollow.
Almost immediately, agents knew the hit was the work of the Unabomber. It had all his trademarks. 1, the bomb was disguised as a harmless package. 2, it was handcrafted. 3, it was encased in a wooden box. And 4, it was mailed from the Bay Area, the same as the last 2 bombs, and where the Unabomber mailed his 4 letters of warning last week. As in Oklahoma, experts say the best clues to the bomber's identity come from the bombs themselves.
He's been very meticulous in the way he constructs the bombs. There is a great deal of hand work done, woodworking, metalworking. That tells us a little bit about the individual himself.
Based on his methods, behavioral experts say the Unabomber is a self-educated, meticulous, and clever killer. The same man has been sending bombs since 1978. The latest bombing took place in Sacramento, which was also the scene of his first killing in 1985. That bomb was disguised as trash and left in a parking lot. Hugh Scruton, the well-liked owner of a computer store, found it as he left for lunch. When Hugh's employees ran out, they found the young father lying in the parking lot. He died on the scene. That same year at the University of California in Berkeley, the Unabomber planted a bomb in a computer lab. John Hauser's dreams of becoming an astronaut ended when he picked up an innocent-looking notebook.
I opened it up, and boom, it exploded, with a loud zap. My Air Force Academy ring was on my right hand. It shot my ring probably a distance of 5 or 6 feet and hit a plaster wall with such an impact that you could read the letters of the word Academy, and you could see the curvature of the stone in the wall itself. The first thing that went through my mind was, why did they do that?
Now officials hope the new information about the bomber's goals may help someone identify him. In San Francisco, a task force of 30 agents works on the case full-time. Another 70 are part-time. Till now, they haven't had much to go on because he rarely slips up. The last time was 8 years ago in Salt Lake City, where he placed a bomb in the parking lot of a computer rental store. It was disguised to look like something that would blow out tires, something anyone would want to remove from a parking lot. And for the first and only time, the Unabomber was seen.
Our eyewitnesses were in a back office. He turned and he looked right at the window, right where they were at. And it's their impression that they made eye contact with him and that he saw them, because they certainly saw him.
At 10, Gary Wright, the owner of the computer store, arrived at work.
I noticed that there was a piece of wood that was laying in the parking lot. And I knelt down to pick it up, and as I knelt down, I was instantly deafened. First, I thought I'd been shot, and there was just a huge impact.
Within minutes of the explosion, investigators thought they had their first big break in the case.
Go ahead. Yeah, the gray hooded sweatshirt on, pulled over his head with the tie down with sunglasses on.
That description led to this sketch and thousands of leads, but none brought police any closer to the Unabomber. Last December, investigators updated the old sketch. It's been age-enhanced because the sightings took place so long ago. In his recent letter to the New York Times, the bomber says he's tired of making bombs. It's no fun, he says, spending nights and weekends building them. He now thinks the time is finally right for his ideas to be published. He gave a glimpse of just how bizarre those ideas might be in another letter sent this week to one of his victims, a Yale computer scientist. 2 years ago, we recreated that near-fatal attack, which scarred Dr. David Gelernter for life, father of two and a brilliant computer scientist at Yale. Here's what the bomber wrote to his victim. There are a lot of people out there who resent the way techno-nerds like you are changing the world. So far, the bomber has murdered 3 people and maimed 23 others. Authorities are offering a $1 million reward to anyone who can help convict the bomber.
It really is important to let people know that these kinds of actions do have an impact on people's lives. You know, my life has been forever changed by the incident. One has to pick up and, you know, play the hand that one is given. But it's really a tragedy when somebody else is needlessly injured and their life is affected.
Again, the Unabomber is thought to be a single male in his 40s. He may be in the San Francisco Bay Area. If you have any information that can help find him, please call 1-800-CRIME-TV.
You think you know anything at all about this case, make that call. And remember, you can remain anonymous. This man has got to be stopped before he kills again. Now, a family desperately needs your help to find their missing child.
4-month-old Stephanie Zamora was such a beautiful baby that when her parents were befriended by a woman who said she could make the child a model, it was an easy story to believe. But this woman, going by the name Rosie Marquise, did not want to help the baby. She wanted to kidnap her.
Rosie apparently saw the baby, Stephanie, and remarked how cute the baby was and that they should take the baby to Sears on Saturday because there was a model photo shoot going on Saturday morning.
The unidentified woman took Stephanie and her aunt to this Sears in Costa Mesa. When they arrived, the woman convinced the aunt to go call Stephanie's mother, and then fled with the baby. Stephanie's parents now hope that their plea will bring their little girl back home.
We need our baby back. My wife needs the baby back. You know, just leave her somewhere where we could, you know, reach, you know, some place where the police could reach the baby.
Police have no photos of Stephanie's abductor. This composite is their only clue. Suspect is a Hispanic woman in her mid to late 30s. She speaks both English and Spanish. She's 5 feet tall and weighs about 200 pounds. Police believe she may be driving a new model 4-door gray Nissan Sentra with California plates. Stephanie is 2 feet tall and weighs 13 pounds. She has a cleft chin, brown birthmarks on her back and thigh. Stephanie also has pierced ears. If you've seen Stephanie or her abductor, please call 1-800-CRIME-TV.
We're speaking with Bob Macy, the district attorney here in Oklahoma City, who's been on the site since the bombing happened. Bob, tell me your first reaction to the bombing.
Of course, the first reaction, we were in our building, it blew all the glasses out, we had to evacuate and get everybody out. Then we immediately ran over here, and of course it was pandemonium here with people bleeding, running everywhere. The thing that just sticks in my mind, all these young police officers, firemen, highway patrol, came running into that building. It was still shaking, still burning, and started carrying people out. Those huge cranes you see behind us, when the blast went off, the people from that company jumped in a pickup, drove down here, saw what had happened, and in less than 15 minutes after the blast, we had cranes on site. Now, I think those are the things that stick out in my mind, is the way that we came together and the way everybody reacted.
You've set an outstanding example for the rest of America of what can be done in a terrible tragedy like this, and I think everyone's proud of you. And one of the most amazing groups are the people who came here to help with the rescue.
You have to understand there were still other buildings crumbling. We had other rumors of other bombs.
There was no one I saw running from the building. Everybody was running to the building. Everybody was running to the explosion. Citizens and all were going there.
I've never seen such a group effort. There are a lot of initials on coats there in addition to FBI and ATF. There's some initials I don't even know, but I have never seen so many people work together so well.
If anything positive can rise from the ashes of tragedy, it's the golden hearts of heroes. In Oklahoma City, from the moment the explosion was heard, there were heroes arising everywhere. Heroes like Sergeant John Avery, who pulled women and children from the wreckage.
I could hear 3 to 5 female voices hollering, "Help, get me out of here." And we started walking towards them voices. Now, where these voices were coming from, it was very dark. The dust was still flying, but as we was going over there, we heard a baby making noise, a baby crying. We stopped and we started digging towards this baby that was crying, and I'd say 3 to 4 inches of concrete. And we saw 2 babies down there, and the officer grabbed the one that was crying and picked him up and exited the building, or started out of the building. I picked the other one up and ran from the building.
Heroes like firefighter Chris Fields, who became a symbol of the nation's pain.
I hollered at the paramedic and told him that I had a critical infant. And he was working on another patient with another paramedic, and he turned around and seen the child, and he just looked at me and said, "Oh my God."
Heroes like Dr. Andy Sullivan, who faced the horrible decision whether to amputate a woman's leg to save her life.
The firemen and the policemen were phenomenal. They took us down the ladder into the basement, into the rubble, and there were some concrete beams and several layers of floor that had trapped the patient. She was lying on her back. The firemen had been able to free her right hand. Her left leg was totally free. All of her chest and head were free, so that the only thing really trapping her was her leg from the knee down, and it was not going to be functional even if we could have gotten her leg out. So the amputation took about 10 minutes, and then we immediately scrambled out, and the firemen scrambled in.
Heroes like the chaplains who comforted victims at the scene and then worked tirelessly to counsel rescue troops.
Everybody's hurting. The people on the scene when I got here, everyone is hurt in some way. I saw in the eyes of our people disbelief, total disbelief. These are healing hands. Those were destructive hands. Those were people who take, and we're people who are giving. We're going to give, and we're going to continue to give.
And behind the frontline heroes was a virtual army of unsung heroes. Men and women who did the hundreds of little jobs that made the larger rescue operation possible.
I went to the perimeter and closed it, assisting other agencies.
We've probably given 200 tetanus shots this morning at least.
I was coordinating all our own ambulances within the city, staging them, lining them up, and then shuttling down to pick up victims.
We put in approximately 40 lines for the FEMA group and for the Oklahoma City Fire Department, their rescue stations.
Hundreds of angels came to help the healers do their healing. Volunteers built wheelbarrows to hold rubble. They cleaned and dried the rescue workers' boots. They passed out mountains of heavy-duty work gloves and rain slickers needed to protect rescue forces from the cold and rainy Oklahoma weather. Volunteers even placed mints on the rescuers' pillows. Coordination like this does not happen by chance. It takes great planning. Planning that thankfully Oklahoma City decided to undergo last summer.
In July of last year, 70 people from Oklahoma City traveled to Emmitsburg, Maryland to the FEMA Emergency Management Training Center. What we were exposed to is training relating to other disasters that have occurred around the United States. One of them that stands out in my mind was the Skywalk collapse in Kansas City, Missouri. At the time we were there, believe me, no one in Oklahoma City would have ever anticipated that we would have a mass murder occur in this city.
Our disaster plan that we've practiced for years went into effect. My own children used to serve as some of the victims. We'd bring down a soccer team or a school of kids and use them as our victims, and the drill that we've practiced for years stood us in good stead.
Oklahoma City now wants to send a message to the nation that every city must be prepared to face disaster so that every city can survive.
And they can blow our church away, and they can blow our building away, and they can rip the heart out of us, but they can't take our spirit. And the spirit of the people of Oklahoma and Oklahoma City is coming through, and we're going to be stronger.
Before we go, I'd like to express my deepest sympathy to the survivors who lost loved ones, and to express my sincere admiration and respect to all the people who have worked here. You've set a shining example for the rest of the country. Your spirit, your courage, and your hospitality have shown that people can come together and overcome the worst of times. God bless you. I'm John Walsh. Good night from Oklahoma.
Stay tuned for Top Gun next on the Q13 Fox Weekend.